I'm always interested in exploring that and not being afraid to play a character that's not, I mean, I don't even know what likable means. Who's likable? You know what I mean? Like, I could be likable today and unlikable to somebody tomorrow. There's somebody that doesn't like me today, you know?
They watch us until the sun rises again. It's a window on the other side.
So second time shooting in Ireland?
Yes, it was.
What was the first?
It's called Sweetness in the Belly. It was in Dublin. It was a few years ago, and met a lot of great people, and I love Irish people very much, so it was wonderful to go back.
Was shooting like as remote as it looked?
We were in Dublin, and then these forests were all in Wicklow, which is a little bit outside of the city, but not super far away. You could still live in the city center of Dublin and film in Wicklow. But it's like a totally different world, and very cool for this movie.
So talk to me a little bit about what it was about this story that kind of brought you in.
I loved meeting Ishana and speaking with Ishana about what she wanted to do, and getting to mix the Celtic, mythical, folklore, fairy tale vibe with also a human grounded story, I think, was something I kind of hadn't seen before, and I could relate to the character that I was playing being at a little bit of a crossroads in life. I think that's something that people experience a lot, where you're just like searching for something and can't find it, and looking for a piece of yourself, and obviously these strange circumstances and other strange characters kind of guide her back to who she is. And also I just thought the movie would be a lot of fun to watch and fun to make at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And how was Ishana as a director?
She was great. I mean, she's clearly somebody who was born to be creative. She's super, dedicated to her art and her artistry and being inventive. And like even the way this is shot, the collaboration between her and Eli, the DP, doing those cool tracking shots and like unique angles and like kind of shooting it in a way that you might not expect. I was really inspired by, and she was super clear and how to plan each day for what she wanted, and I think it's always helpful to work with somebody who wrote the script, and usually they have most answers, and that's very comforting, and she definitely did.
Do you feel like at this point in your career there's like a type of director or directing style that like you resonate with?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think I've worked with a lot of different kinds of directors and can kind of adapt and mold myself for each vibe. But I think it's just really, for me, I just like to get along with them very well, and to have trust, because sometimes directors ask you to do things that you're like, really? Like, are you sure? And they're like, trust me. And if you don't, then you're like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't trust you, but when you do have that trust and you're able to just be like, well, you'll catch me if I fall or if I fail, or you'll tell me if that's not what you meant or something, because being an actor is a vulnerable thing, you're like that joke of if you come out and the director's like, can you dial that down a little bit? You know what I mean? Like that, that feeling. So it's important that you have somebody that you trust that's watching out for you.
Do you feel like when you're working with women directors in particular, does that like feel like that adds another element of trust, like automatically?
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly worked with male directors that I've trusted just as much, but I think, for like, just thinking about Ishana particularly, and with this, I think we're both young women, and there was a relatability to the character that I was playing that we both could really understand. So that was helpful and something that drew me to it, just having conversations about, being a woman in your 20s and figuring things out, and kind of also we talked a lot about that sort of rage that's inside, that kind of that feeling, and wanting to play with that a little bit. So yeah, there was definitely a relatability for sure with her.
I read that you studied women's studies in college. Is that right?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like women in film in particular,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was I'm always interested by the portrayal of women in films, and I'm always interested in portrayals of women that are not necessarily likable or that do all the right things all of the time. I think, people are people and make mistakes and don't always do the right thing, and I think sometimes people can be afraid to portray female characters in their totality with the messy parts too that we all have, man, woman, anything, whatever. And so I'm always interested in exploring that and not being afraid to play a character that's not, I mean, I don't even know what likable means. Who's likable? You know what I mean? Like, I could be likable today and unlikable to somebody tomorrow. There's somebody that doesn't like me today,
Yeah.
And so whatever that means. But I think just women in their totality.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. During the Challengers junket, I remember like hearing a lot of people, I probably should be saying this, I heard a lot of people asking Zendaya about like playing an unlikable woman, and I was
She's
like,
like, what?
I'm
I'm sure she's like, what do you mean? Like,
was
she's
so
a flaw. Everyone has flaws and makes mistakes and like
she's not that bad.
right. Yeah, exactly. Totally. I get it.
And I mean, the fact that he's even like something that people felt like they needed to comment on is interesting,
Right.
you know?
And would they comment on if it was a male character, probably
Right.
not.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I know 30 was a big birthday for
Yes,
you.
yes.
I don't know. It seems like in these past few years, you've really like found your creative sort of voice. Is that fair to say?
Maybe, yeah.
Do you feel like, is it just like age, or is it like the projects you've done that kind of,
For me, it's just always been like an instinct thing. Like, it's never like some sort of strategy. There's never any, it's like, it's just an instinct thing of, you meet somebody and want to be a part of a project with them. Like, it's just kind of feels like something that I just go with my gut on. But I definitely think as a person and turning 30 and being at this point in my life, and I feel very settled in like who I am and what I want and what I don't want and what I like and what I don't like. And so that definitely is true. So I'm sure that comes across maybe even without thinking, just because that is true for me.
And producing, kind of talk to me a little bit
Yeah.
about what made you and Elle started to kind of make this company.
Yeah, it's awesome to be doing it with my sister. And I think being an actor for so long, you are reliant on other people to want you to be in their movie, to pick you, to believe in you, to see something in you. And eventually you're like, well, I just kind of want to make that happen for myself, and be really involved from early stages of development and developing things, and also doing things. I think Elle and I are also super passionate about producing things that we're not acting in too, and finding that balance. That's really cool to us as well. But I think, just being like involved from the ground up and making opportunities for yourself and not kind of waiting on other people to catch up is sort of what drew us to wanting to do it.
Interesting. And it's been fulfilling.
Super fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And, we have things that we work on together and things we work on separately, and getting to collaborate with her in that way. No one else I would rather do that with. And so it's been a lot of fun.
That's very cool. Did you guys ever think you might like do like either like make a movie together or?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely will.
When the time's right.
When the time's right.
I was thinking about with this film, like the idea of being watched.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wondered if it resonated with you as somebody who's been in the.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this when somebody else came in and sort of, I don't know that I had totally put it together, but I was like, yeah, for sure. I do connect with that, and I think everyone connects with that right now. I feel like everyone is being watched, with social media and videos and people filming you, whatever. Like, everyone, it's like, what is private anymore? I think we're all having a reckoning with that in society. And so this is sort of a supernatural, literal version of that. But I do think there's an element of that people are struggling with, and how it can be used positively and or negatively, So yeah, I definitely think that there's a little bit of that. And I think as far as like my personal life, I just try not to worry about it too much. You know, I was like, well, I don't like scream at people on the street, so I don't have to worry about that. You know, like I don't get into fights with people in grocery stores. I was like, so that won't ever be a concern. And if somebody takes a picture of me walking into the grocery store, then so be it.
Yeah, you have been able to really navigate it very well, it seems like. I don't know, do you have a secret?
My secret is to just, like, do it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like, do it.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes don't expect that it's you, and so then they think it's not you.
Yeah.
Like, most people will say, like, have you ever been told that you look like so-and-so? I'm like, yes.